just being able to look at the product, look at the name and go, I understand that. I know what that means. So you're allowed to punch, you're allowed to elbow, you're allowed to knee, and you're allowed to kick. It's all stand-up striking, and you're in the MMA glove. So it's just like UFC, but without the wrestling and in a boxing ring. Stay focused on what you're doing. Don't listen to anybody else. And yeah, fuck it, go for it.
I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. I'm Abs of October Red. And first time guest, Charlie Herdman. I'm going to say are we going to say the world's youngest promoter? Are we going to be that brave, or is it just in the UK?
Definitely when I started. I'm 19 now, so there's probably somebody somewhere, or I'm not going to hold on to that title for very many years to come. But definitely when I started, or historically, probably the youngest promoter to have ever done it. Yeah.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the channel. I'm excited about this. I did just a little bit of homework from you, and you've covered some of it there as well. This is for my guests that I'm usually on the boxing side, but I'm all for introducing all kinds of combat sport and potentially outside the sport as well. You started this at a mere age of 14. Now, that is very odd. Are you a lockdown kid?
It was actually just coming out of lockdown. After the first lockdown, indeed.
We had a lot of talents that came out during that period.
Yeah.
And fair enough, we are here today. You've got your show on, which we'll talk about shortly. But on one of these, I want to know the why. I want to get to know you. 14 years old, we're going to go back to that. Just before you thought, you know what, Eureka, we're going to start to do this. Tell me a little bit about Charlie and what you were doing before that started.
Yeah, so I played academy football since I was 6, and I've been in academy football up until I got into boxing and then into promoting my entire life. So training 5 times a week, game on a Sunday, being pulled out of school halfway through, being driven over to training, having that from ages 6 to 13, 14. Then after I was a goalkeeper, and my parents are under 6 foot, so they looked at them both, and they're using a very scientific method of just working out how tall they were. They said, you're not going to be tall enough to be a goalkeeper, and we're going to release you. So I was around, just starting high school at the time, so about 13. Around that time, I went down to the amateur boxing gym. I started fighting myself. I had 6 amateur fights, and I lived in Stratford-upon-Avon, and I thought I wanted to do a show in Stratford for the first time in 32 years. And that was really the premise of the idea and how it all started.
When you talk about influences, because listen, everyone's got ambition, Charlie, but it's not very often somebody gets up out of bed, thinks, yeah, I've done amateur boxing for a bit. Stratford-upon-Avon hasn't had a fight here for 3 decades. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm going to promote a fight there. How did we get to that point? Because the maths at the moment isn't mathing for me. I need to close those gaps.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of it is the way that I was brought up, the mentality of my parents, but also as much as how difficult kind of the academy system is. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't wish my kids to do it because it is so brutal, and you lose an entire childhood from it. But that's kind of what gave me the work ethic and that mentality from a young age to do things like that. So I'd say that's where kind of the mentality comes from.
I like that mentality that you have got, because it just shows that ambition and that drive. But putting it all together, obviously you mentioned that you've got support of really good parents. I'm going to take it that they were part of this as well. So how did all of that come together to make that very first show at the age of 14? Because excuse me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure they're giving out licenses to 14-year-olds unless, I don't know, maybe it's a dodgy one in the school playground at break time.
No, exactly that. That first fight was absolute carnage, I think. We were running around like blue ass flies for the entire day. I'd done 2 white collar events to start off with, me and my dad, and then I went into doing pro boxing shows. As you mentioned, you have to be 18 to hold a license. and I would have been 14 at the time. So I was actually doing them, borrowing somebody else's license, so I could continue to put them on. And then actually, I got to the age of being able to apply for my license or getting to the stages. You get this little booklet of a bit like going to take a lawyer's exam of everything you need to know about promoting, and then you sit in front of a board of old men that then kind of judge you and ask you questions and see if you're fit and ready. And it was at that point where I went to a mixed martial arts event for the very first time. I watched it, and the very next day I thought, I want to be a part of this because this is epic.
How did that go when you're sat there? How old were you at the time? Were you 16? Was it 17?
I would be 17, 3 or 4 months away from turning 18.
So when you're sat there and you're sat in front of these board of old, I must highlight my grays here. What is old to you? Because to my kids, I'm an absolute antique. So for the benefit of the recording, can you confirm to me what you call old?
There's definitely different ladders of them. Old and grey. Let's go with that term. Old and grey.
We'll go for that. What did they think of you? Did they think, because sometimes the older generation, not myself included, sometimes we'll look at like young talent and think, what does he know? How was it for you?
Yeah. So I didn't actually get to the stage of going into the board and applying, fully applying and going through the process because I went to that mixed martial arts event. I thought this is what I wanted to do. But I definitely received a lot of criticism and still do to this day from people, not just people that are old and grey, but people that have been in mixed martial arts or Muay Thai or kickboxing or even boxing when I was doing that for a while, that have done it their whole lives. They're fighters, they're coaches, and they think, how is a 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old doing this and I can't? And yeah, there's definitely been a lot of criticism, a lot of backlash, sarky comments, but I mean, just looking, I've got the venue that's been set up just in front of my camera, and it's awesome.
There's dealing with different people. Obviously, you're going to be dealing with a lot of characters. You're going to have to decide who you want on board, who you want part of your team. What is your process for that? And I'm going to get into obviously, the 8 strike shortly, but what is your process? What are you looking for? Because let's face it, you're the lockdown era. You're a young man. You will know what's trending. You'll know how to grab the audience, the views, the highlight reels. This is the world we live in now. But what do you look for in your fighters, Charlie?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, there's one thing, obviously, being a good fighter, being skilled, being talented, but you also need to be marketable. And to really, I mean, we've got a brilliant deal with TalkSPORT. We're going to be doing something with DAZN very soon as well. But to get those types of deals, you need to be pushing yourself out there. You need to have a story. You need to be willing to go out on camera and to give a good account of yourself. So for me, I come from that age. I'm 19, going on 20 this year. I understand it. I'm not a 50, 60, 70-year-old promoter, old, grey hair, that doesn't know about all of the different kind of social media and that content generation. I understand it. I know I'm a part of it. So from that perspective, it definitely helps. But then also from a fighter's perspective, a lot of the fighters are early 20s, mid 20s. They're kind of similar age groups to me. So I'm a lot more relatable with the fighters. And I can have just like a friendly one-on-one chat with a lot of the fighters like I'm their mate, as opposed to somebody 5 decades older. And it has that kind of promoter-fighter relationship.
8 strike, the brand, the name. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, it's as simple and as easy as you're allowed to strike with 8 different weapons. And that's to me what was really important, the simplicity of it. And just being able to look at the product, look at the name and go, I understand that. I know what that means. So you're allowed to punch, you're allowed to elbow, you're allowed to knee, and you're allowed to kick. It's all stand-up striking, and you're in the MMA glove. So it's just like UFC, but without the wrestling and in a boxing ring.
Wow. The concept then, how did you come up with that? Obviously, you've got experience in combat sport yourself.
Yeah.
But what was that moment where you thought, okay, this is the name that I want for it, 8 strike. We want it to stand out. This is our brand. These are the rules. How and when did you come up with that?
Yeah, it's a combination of actually a lot of different kind of sub-disciplines. And one of the things that I've noticed, just from like an outsider looking in with combat sports is you have so many disciplines: kickboxing, Muay Thai, karate, traditional boxing, bare knuckle boxing, MMA. I could list hundreds of them. So it's very kind of fragmented. So I wanted to take the little bits that I liked from all of the different ones and then brand it under striking. And that's as simple as it is. So it's inspired a bit by Muay Thai with the eight limbs, a bit of MMA with the 4 ounce gloves, a bit of kickboxing K1 with the scoring and the pacing, a bit of boxing again with that kind of scoring and pacing type of thing and the different styles that you get, but really kind of consolidating 20, 30 different disciplines just under the one banner of striking. And that then means that you have some awesome matchups. You have a boxer versus a bare knuckle fighter versus an MMA fighter versus a Muay Thai fighter. You have all of these different styles with all of these different crazy moves that they can do and all of their strengths and weaknesses. And it culminates into 50-50 fights. And that's one thing that I found a lot in pro boxing was not many of them are 50-50 fights. Every fight is a 50-50 fight. Whether you've sold 100 tickets or no tickets, you can win and you can lose.
I like that. I like the concept, considering I didn't understand the concept fully before. That is a great explanation. So the why did you choose to go into promoting? You could have been hands-on, maybe got involved in the fighting yourself, but you decided that you wanted to be like the owner.
There we go. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Listen, I know it's fight day. You decided that you wanted to control the business. You wanted to be, you know, the president, the CEO, the chairman, everything. It had to be your brand, your business. You didn't want to be doing the work on the floor. Why?
Well, we're definitely still doing all the work on the floor and running around.
Not
But
in
to
the
me,
ring.
I love it. Oh, not in the ring. No, no.
Yeah.
The honest answer is I wasn't good enough. And I was a much better promoter and putting on the events than fighting. And I mean, you've got to be a little bit mentally mentally wired in a certain way to want to be a fighter. And I absolutely love it. But to me, promoting is a drug. You just get that buzz on fight day and whilst the fight's going on, and even when things are going wrong and you're running around, I just love the it's like an adrenaline rush for me.
I love the passion that you've got, the goals and the aspirations when you look down the line. Because as you can see, I think you've probably entered boxing at an interesting time because the landscape is morphing all different directions at the moment. I can't even put my finger on it. So when you think about 8Strike, what are your goals and aspirations? Have you set yourself a target to where you want to be in a certain amount of time?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, there's a thing in promoting where you have to be delusional to have kind of the big visions and where you want to go. You have to have that little bit of delusion in it. There's also some realism to it, and knowing that you're not just going to go tomorrow we're going to become the UFC. No, of course you're not. But we have a great team and all kind of the roadmap laid out, and we have the season by season plan over the next 5 seasons of how we're going to scale, what we're going to prioritize, when are we going to different markets, when are we going to start to sign your big, ex-UFC fighters, glory fighters, boxers, bare knuckle fighters, everything like that. And it's one thing for me of growing fast, but it's also making sure that we can stick around for 60, 70, 80. Well, I want to be able to pass this on to my kids, put it that way.
The ambition and the drive and the fact that you've managed to maneuver yourself to get like a broadcast deal on TalkSPORT to start off with. You've mentioned potentially DAZN in the future. How did you manage to secure those deals? What is it about 8Strike? What is it about Charlie Herdman that they heard the pitch and they were like, we've got to get behind this?
Yeah, I think one is the rule set and the way that it's being formatted. It's very fast paced. It's 3 3-minute rounds. It's not 36 minutes of boxing or 8 hours of cricket or anything like that. It's fast paced action. So from a broadcaster's point of view, I understand about viewer retention and making sure that we're maximizing our concurrent viewership. And I come from a little bit of that background to a certain extent. I ran an OTT platform for a number of years. I understand media. I'm young myself. I get what works, what doesn't work. But then for me, it's just getting them on a call. And then once they're on a call with me, I don't let them go until they sign on the dotted line.
That drive is phenomenal. So talk to us about tonight then. This is your first card with TalkSPORT. Talk to us about this and what we can expect from you guys tonight.
Absolutely. It's going to be absolutely chaos. It's going to be violent. It's going to be awesome. It's live. It's free on YouTube, on TalkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. So there's no barrier to entry, no pay-per-view, no subscription, nothing like that. So from 6 p.m. till 10 p.m., make sure you're going onto YouTube, any device that you have, you can watch it for free. We've got 9 fights tonight. They're going to be violent. They're going to be chaotic. And we have a 70% KO ratio, and you're going to see why. So tune in, and within 1 round, I guarantee you'll be a fan for life.
We love it. Listen, have you got anything else that you'd like to say? Because I need to let you go. I really want to tear your brains apart and get into it, but I can't because it's fight day. So I appreciate that. Is there anything else that you want to leave us with? I mean, one of the things that I like about you already is your ambition, your drive, the excitement that you've got. And like I said, if this is really successful in a few years' time, you'll be the old grey-haired man looking back at the young 19-year-old. So what would you say to that young person that's going to come through that will look at you as a blueprint, and they're not just going to want to take part, Charlie, they're going to want to take your spot? What would you say to them?
I would say just stay focused on what you're doing. Don't listen to anybody else. And yeah, fuck it, go for it.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, please get behind Charlie Herdman. He is on social media, so you can find him on Instagram. You can also follow his fight page as well, which is the number 8. It's 8IGHTSTRIKE all together on Instagram. Make sure you follow that and support the journey. Tonight on YouTube, like he said, it's free of charge. There is only subscription to YouTube. There's no extra cost. So get behind Charlie and this journey. I'm going to be watching the fights tonight. I'm going to see how it goes because I like to do a little bit of commentary on the fight. So, yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Herdman. All the best tonight, Charlie.
Thank you. Take care. Cheers.
Bye-bye.